Yo, what is up, guys? Boris here. Today, coming to you guys with a very special video. Now, we have one of my good friends who's been on this channel for so many times, on a lot of my live streams, a lot of my videos, Princeton Productions, and he's here to talk to you guys about an awesome project called Clash of Deities, a new webcomic that he's starting. So I want to go ahead and let him do a little bit of an intro of what exactly this project is, maybe how long he's been working on it and stuff like that. So I'll let you take it away, man. Just go ahead and let him know the basics.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say I have actually been on your channel a lot, so I feel like I should start getting some of your revenue already, because my little percentage. But
15%.
let's get into it. So basically, I've been working on this for the last 5 years, polishing the story. I have notebooks. For different things, ecosystems, the worlds, the realms, etc., character classes, and everything. I've been working on this for 5 years nonstop. It's been kind of like a thing that I was inspired by American comics. I actually am a big collector of DC comics. I'm not a huge Marvel fan, but so my love for comic books and then my love for manga kind of came together, and I was like, oh, I want to make like a comic manga hybrid kind of thing. So I came up with this original idea. I was at Taco Bell once. I was just sitting there, um, playing DS, and the idea just hit me like, oh, they should make a game like this, and that. So I started writing it down on a napkin, and then I go home and I expand on it. I started drawing, even though like my drawing skills are not that good, and I started kind of like making this world as I was going. And at first I was like, oh, this is crazy. But then like, I showed it to my best friend Admiral Black, and he loved it. He fell in love with the idea. And then like I showed it to our first artist we ever had, and he fell in love with the idea even more. So we're like, well, let me pull the trigger and go with it. So pretty much, um, the story itself is, like I said, it's a comic manga hybrid. So it's read like a manga, so you're reading it from right to left, but the size of the pages when this comes out physically, which I am planning on doing these, it's the size of a comic book. And if you read a manga before compared to a comic book, mangas are usually kind of smaller. They're like smaller books compared to an actual full-blown size comic book. So that's the ideal, because I kind of want to focus on the art a lot. I think the art, our newest artist, and this artist that we found, when you read the first chapter, of course, and I should probably say this. The first chapter's out already, of course. If you guys want to check it out, I'll get Boris the link so you guys can check it out. The artist who drew this fell in love with the project. He has put his own touch into the art. He's gone well over beyond our expectations. So we kind of want to keep that quality consistent in every single chapter. And so let's say 5 years of me writing the world, writing the characters, writing the plot. Everything's already, the end of the story is already created. Now it's all about
No, yeah,
actually putting it on
it's sort of like
paper.
One Piece. Yeah, that's why I think a lot of people will like this. Is some mix, like you said, of comics and manga. It has both of those feels to it. So let me go over a quick what happens in the first chapter, a quick summary, and in the video you should be seeing some of these characters flashing by or passing by. We got, looks like the chapter one's gonna focus on two characters. I'm not sure if they're gonna be the only main characters or not. Maybe three. I don't know if you count the little hedgehog thing, but you have looks like Axel and Desmond, and it looks like they can transform. And when I saw the transformation, I was like, wait, this is really cool. Like, up to that point, it was like, I was like, what's the twist? And then like the scarecrow design. Actually, I'm a really big fan of the scarecrow design. Whoever designed that, it looks like something from an actual manga. It looks like something from an actual comic. So I gotta give props to whoever designed that thing. It looks really
So
beast.
it's okay, so let's jump into that since we were talking about that. We have Axel, who's one of the main characters. He has the ability to transform into a deity, pretty much, and this deity is a bubak. A bubak is uh, it's a demon. It's pretty much kind of like a demon. Basically, bubaks are more of like, they resemble scarecrows. I don't know if you ever play Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. The Skull Kid kind of resembles a bubak. Bubaks
Ah,
are
okay,
pretty much,
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That if you look at his design, he's inspired by by the Skull Kid, because I was such a huge fan. I was like, well, I want to make a character that not only is he kind of like scary looking as a main character, because usually main characters are kind of like, like Goku, Meliodas, Luffy. They're not scary. They're not scary people. So I was like, oh, let's go with something scary. Let's see what we could do from here.
No, definitely doesn't look like your typical hero. I think that's what I really like about him. He looks very unique, which is something that I was like, oh, it's really cool. Whoever
And
designed that looks beast.
the design actually, if I can find the original picture, I think we lost it on a little fire, which is a little kind of upsetting. The original design looked a lot like the original design had a pumpkin head pretty much, and I gave it to my artist. My artist like, oh, okay, well, what if we do this? And he's like, oh, if we do this, and it will make him look more like this way. And I was like, oh yeah, try it. At first I was super against it, but I gave him a try, and he showed me the design that you guys see in the chapter, and I was just blown away, because it was at that point that I realized, like, this is it. This is the character.
No, definitely, yeah. Like I said, it has a very unique look, really cool, and I mean, not just him. I mean, the Desmond with the cactus arm, that was cool. I had to say that I didn't see that. That's something I don't think I've ever seen before. So that was really cool.
Yeah. That is so the way that was inspired was so I was inspired by two things. I was reading at the time. I was reading a X-Men comic book on Spike. Spike, if you guys don't know, is a mutant that can literally shoot spikes out of his body. And then I looked up and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But like the way he uses is kind of lame. I was reading a comic book where he was a pacifist. So I was like, oh, well, how can we make a character that looks like Spike but make him cool? So I was like, oh, I know. Let's get him cactus-like abilities. So, and I'll send you the original art for Desmond, and so you guys can see the transformation that he went through.
That'd be pretty interesting, definitely.
Yeah. It's the transformation he went through. It's actually the craziest transformation so far in any character. And I was like, I was watching One Piece. Of course, everybody knows One Piece is one of my top 3 favorite mangas and animes. And I was thinking, how come there's no plant Soans? Like, imagine like a Venus flytrap Soan, or like, something like that. So
yeah, that makes sense.
And that's where the idea extend from. I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna give this character something plant-like, and the cactus kind of stuck out the most. The reason I picked the cactus is because his attitude is like the best way I can describe it. Very prickly. He's very full of himself. He knows he's the best, pretty much. There's nobody above him. Axel, on the other hand, Axel's kind of like an adventurer. He's always up for adventure, having fun. So I needed to create some symmetry between them. So I was like, well, I don't want to do. I already went with a scarecrow, like a Bubak design. I don't want to do something similar to that. So instead, I went ahead and did a cactus, and actually went through it. Like, when you look at him, like, you look at his hair, you look at his pet hedgehog, or porcupine. We will reveal what he is in the future. You could tell. I mean, he just looks like a guy who would have a cactus. Like, he has the little bracelets with the little spikes coming out of it, and there's so much more.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, he has they both have really cool designs.
Yeah, and like, I'm actually with Desmond personally. I feel like Desmond's my favorite character, and this design right here, it was amazing. But like, his next set of clothes kind of brings out like who he really is, which is odd, because normally when you say like my next pair of clothes, like, how can clothes say about you? We're gonna see more about him, and like you can kind of see like his knee is missing, like the little knee part on his pants, and the cover page of the chapter. These little subtle hints right there. I tried throwing a few things here and there, and I gotta say, apparently Mo, the little hedgehog / porcupine, seems to be everybody's new thing.
Yeah, he's really cool. I'm not gonna lie, he's really cool.
Yeah, people loved it, and I saw one of my friends did a live reaction. He's like, "Yo, it talks," and he was so hyped. And I'm like, "That's the part that got you hyped? That part that a porcupine slash hedgehog talk. So I thought that
Yeah.
was pretty.
Well,
Yeah.
let me say this. Speaking of, like you said, in the like, to look forward to future future content, like the clues and stuff. Well, let's talk about this. So this is chapter one is out. Chapter one's called the beginning, and the series is called the Clash of Deities. The the series, I'll have a link down below in the description where you guys can read the whole chapter one. These chapters, they do take a while, right? So I think the next one, chapter two, is
Yes.
scheduled for January.
Yes. So I created a group called Plant Nerd a long time ago, and I found it that all my projects will be awesome if I release them on the same day that I created a group. So I went ahead and said, all right, I'm gonna release. I was originally gonna release this in Halloween, but a lot of people were complaining that I was very unactive on my channel. They're like, "Oh, John's fodder," or "John doesn't like One Piece anymore," and it's not true. I love One Piece, and I've been dying to do reviews and live reaction. I have theories out the wall, but this is taking a lot of my time, and it's actually not my only project. I'm also working on a comedy one. I'm working on a comedy project, like a comic.
Yeah.
So between this one takes a lot of the majority of my time, and between the comedy one, it's hard to manage the time for like for my channel.
No,
And
definitely,
I
definitely.
yeah, and I'm running on 5 hours of sleep. I create a new schedule.
That's
I'm running
crazy.
on 5 hours of sleep. I still have a normal job, like so I still have to go to work. I actually get in trouble a lot at work for slacking off and writing. So it's
Well,
something that
yeah, I was let's mention. I want to
it's
mention that
crazy.
because this wasn't cheap. You're making one chapter, which is what 14 pages. Each page costs
Yep.
some money, right? So
Yep.
that's why. Yeah, go
Basically,
ahead and explain to them what your plan sort of is to fund maybe the chapter two or something.
so we're halfway through chapter two, of course. Or yeah, we can say we're halfway through chapter two. The reason we took a delay on creating this chapter just got created, like maybe three weeks ago, and then we jumped right into this one. Was because we have an artist, and the artist is very very close to the project. Our artist got married, of course. We're on a honeymoon, and we're not going to make him work, right? So we let him have a little off, a little time off here and there, and now he's back. He's so excited. The feedback that people are giving us, I am screenshotting everything, whether it's positive or negative, giving it to him, and he loves it. I think he's actually more excited than I am at
That's
this
cool.
point
That's actually
because
that's
this
actually
is
really interesting.
yeah, like this is the fruit of his labor. Like I just write the story. He grabs my words and puts them into something that makes sense. And I will always say this. I will always say this. I feel like he's the bread and butter of this, of course. And so in Patreon, I have a video in which we are talking about the wrong project. So I got to make a new video explaining it. But the cost for one chapter as of right now, and this is paying all the staff, not just this money does not go to anybody because there's multiple people. It's more. We have a group of 5 people on this project, and the group to release a chapter, or sorry, the amount of money to release one or to create a chapter is exactly $640. The first chapter was completely funded by myself, um, and I'm still gonna keep going. The reason I made the Patreon was because some of the people that were working with me were like, "Dude, come on, do a Patreon, do a Patreon. It'll be easier on you." Uh, for the last few years, I haven't been wanting to make a Patreon. I feel weird, kind of like, 'cause to me, it feels like it's begging and whatnot. But the way Admiral said it, it's like, well, if your fans love you and they support you like they say they do, they want you to do this. Let it out. If you don't gain anything, then it's fine because you weren't expecting it. And so I was like, all right, you got a point. So I started. I made the Patreon, but I didn't want to ask for the full blown $600. I was like, that's selfish of me because it's my project and I should be the one funding it. And if I just happen to get extra, then it shaves off and it gives more for the next chapter. So Admiral was like, oh, well, how about you do 300? That's half. I was like, I don't feel comfortable with that. So I went with 200, $200. That easily shaves off, 200. That'll be $400 per chapter that I have to pay out of pocket. Which the amazing part about that will be that that's basically half my paycheck that I gain right now,
Yeah, no,
and
that's a
and
lot of
that's
help.
just yeah, and that's basically just my that's my just my that job. I do have my production studio, but that money that I make from my production studio goes directly to my production, like buying better equipment. And I'm trying to keep my because I have different ventures. Of course, I have my comic, I have my manga, and I have my videos and my production studio. So whatever my production studio stays there, it doesn't go to the manga.
Yeah, so you're working on a lot of
And
different projects at once. So you're trying to keep everything separated. Don't want to mix and mash everything. And
yep,
so, you're working on this, you're working on different manga. Like, it can get pretty expensive, considering that a lot of it's coming out of your own pocket. So, essentially, if anybody who reads chapter one, sees that potentially something interesting, maybe you're a fan of, the channel Princeton Production, and maybe even Admiral Black. If you guys maybe have watched their videos and fans want to support, feel free to, I'll leave the link to their Patreon down below. In my opinion, this is Patreon done right. You know exactly what you're going to be getting when you support, right? It's you can read chapter one.
yeah,
If you want to see chapter two, you can help out. You don't have to, of course, but if you want to, if you do have a little bit maybe in support, I'm sure that Princeton would appreciate it. And like I said, you know exactly what it's going towards. Going towards chapter two. And yeah. So anything else, Matt? Anything else that you want to say before we head off?
yeah, and this is both for people who support me on Patreon and people who don't. Basically, you know how some mangakas or some authors or comic book authors, whatever you want to say, they go on Twitter, they do Q&As. I actually am going to be planning a Q&A every 2 weeks. It's more for me to show you guys that I'm not just slacking, that the first chapter is not a one shot. So I'm gonna be showing you guys concept art. If you go to Patreon, even if you don't pay, you will be able to see a lot of, for example, in the first chapter, you guys take witness one of the first creatures from the world called a spiderkin, which is basically a pumpkin spider. I'm going to be posting on Patreon very soon about its habitat, what it eats, its weakness, advantages. So without giving you guys too much spoiler, I am going to be uh, giving you guys more about the world without actually ruining anything. And the reason I brought the whole Patreon thing was because if I'm live and I'm doing a video and you guys ask me a question, I will answer the question if I see it. At first, I feel like the first few videos, streams that I do, it'll be relatively easy. I don't imagine that many people to go. While with Patreon, your $1 per month reward perk, it's basically you can ask me a question or the staff a question, and it could be about anything. It could be about the characters, plays, future, plot, etc., anything like that. And of course, we will answer those questions on stream as long as they're not spoiling anything any way, shape, or form. And I do want to talk about the last two perks, which are basically the last two pledges are $20 and $40. I didn't feel comfortable going higher than that because personally, I would never spend $50 on a project unless I was completely like married to the project itself. And I basically the last two pledges, the $20 per month is it allows you to put your character into our world. So if you have a cool character and it fits our world, we put it in. And we actually already have somebody who they didn't donate to Patreon, but they donated through my PayPal, and I was like, yeah, that still counts as good. And basically, they gave me a character design to fit the world, and now he's part of the world. So
Yeah, that's really
kind of want to,
pretty cool. So if anybody out there wants to have a character immortalized in a comic, then
yeah,
you know what to do.
that's actually the best way to put it. Is
I'm just saying, man. If it's if the guy who's drawing this is gonna be, oh yeah, I guess that's the question I had. Sorry, is this gonna be the same artist throughout, sort of at least the first
yes,
couple chapters?
yes, yep. We're planning on keeping the same artist for the next 4 years.
Oh wow, okay.
Uh,
And that's
yeah,
really important
this
because that
artist.
way if they are going to potentially donate, or just if they're looking forward to chapter two, they'll know exactly what they're expecting. The same kind of art style,
Yep.
same stuff. So
Now, whoever does get these characters, they will get concept art of their character. I will allow those people to say, "Oh, I want him to have this or that, or look this way." And again, as long as it fits the character, I will. I'll be cool with it. I actually have a character that I'm going to show in the future. of the guy who donated $20, and of course I allow him to create his character. And the amazing part about that is that our artist is very quick. It's not going to take him a month. Usually, it takes him within hours to create something if we ask him. So, and I talked to him. He's actually really excited about this, and the reason why those two perks are very important will be explained in the future in one of my videos because uh, we need a lot of characters for this for this project, and we'll explain why. But that's pretty much it, unless you have anything else.
No, I just want to say, I guess before we end, is that I remember you talking about this project for a couple years now, so it's awesome to see it finally, we get chapter one finally released. I'm not sure if this is the same one you're talking about in the past, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I remember
I honestly, if I had to describe the feeling, I feel like Clark Kent. You know how Clark Kent goes to work and he has a Superman suit underneath, but nobody knows that's him. I go to work, I go to the store, and in my mind, like even if I were to fail right now, I am completely happy with the fact that I finished such a project like this. And like I said, I go to work and like the whole time I'm like, wow, I did this. I can't believe
yeah,
it's
you
real.
got an idea from your head and actually managed to put it onto paper, which is not something a lot of people can do. Or is something that is kind of challenging to do for sure. So,
And
no, man. Oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and like my last thought about this is the fact that I brought it to life and that I have this overwhelming, I have like some of my friends doing live reactions. Some people are doing theories because I did put so many Easter eggs of the future. Like there, without exaggeration, and I legit, I actually have this written in front of me. There is 14 Easter eggs in the first chapter by itself.
Oh, that's really exciting stuff. And you guys check out the chapter. Definitely, if you want to make videos or something, let Princeton know. He loves seeing it. Give him feedback on Twitter, on Facebook, make a YouTube video, make a whatever you want to do, guys. If you guys just check out the chapter one and enjoy it, just let him know that you enjoyed it. Whatever. So I guess let him know real quick where they can follow you. I'll have all your stuff down below, so your YouTube, your Twitter. So, but if they're too lazy to check, just give them your Twitter or something.
Well, Twitter basically is Captain underscore cosplay on Twitter. I'm actually a lot more. I am very, very frequent on Twitter constantly, so that's the best way to get a hold of me. Of course, on YouTube it's Princeton Production, and Instagram is Captain underscore cosplay, and that's pretty much it. I have literally stopped using Facebook, so
Oh, okay. So yeah, man. I guess awesome to see. Like I said, the project finally take form, and hopefully you guys, check out the chapter one. Just see if you like it or not, and look forward to chapter two. I'm looking forward to chapter two. I can't wait. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and until next time, peace.